The level design in Stage 1 in Ninja Gaiden Shadow for Game Boy is absolutely flawless. I'll be showing you how it teaches the player how to play the game while being both completely fair and interesting for both first-time players and experienced players. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you something that blew my mind that even further demonstrates just how incredible this game is. Something you may not have even realized you've been looking at this whole time. So, check this out. The stage starts with the player character, a ninja, on the left. Almost immediately, this guy walks in from the right side of the screen. And what does he do? He stops walking, he turns around, and he signals to his buddies, you know, the rest of the enemies in this stage. Heh, come on, let's get him! I just love this little attention to detail. Not only does it give your enemies some personality, it also actually gives you more time to stop and comprehend what's going on. Okay, so you've got two buttons and an enemy that is slowly walking towards you. Press a button, swing your sword, kill the easy yet menacing enemy. At this point, there's only one direction to walk, so you continue to the right. You get a couple more chances to try out your new sword technique on some more of the same enemies, when suddenly there's a new enemy. This guy, in some sort of defense system, shooting rockets at you. But here's the thing. He's positioned just high enough that the rockets will never actually hit you. And in order to progress, you need to jump up onto the platform that the enemy was on, forcing you to learn how jumping works. Next up is this ding-dong. As soon as he is on screen, he starts hucking grenades in your direction, with a sound effect to go along with the throwing animation. Hopefully you'll retreat to the left, where you can learn the new enemy pattern safely. Wait for the right timing, and run up and get him. Oh, now this is good. There's another one throwing grenades, but just before he appears on screen, there's another slow-moving, walking enemy coming at you, which means before you even see the grenade guy, you're preparing to stop to take out the first enemy, preventing you from walking into any oncoming grenades. Oh, it's so good. Okay, we're back to the rocket launcher enemy from before. It's almost the same scenario, but with one critical difference. He still can't hit you, but this time, he's set further back, meaning you can't just kill him from a safe spot. So, time your jump, crouch under the attacks as needed, and hit him with your sword. And now that you have a full understanding of running, jumping, crouching, and attacking, you face off against one last rocket launcher, the final test. Now, even though this stage teaches the player all of these gameplay mechanics slowly, it doesn't mean the game has to be slow. Experienced players can enjoy playing the stage as fast as they want, plowing through enemies, which have attacks that are all timed in a manner that they can be killed by quick, skilled players, but one small mistake and they'll get hit. So, new players are presented a challenge, and experienced players are still presented a challenge even after multiple playthroughs. And that's not just the first stage, that's the first section of the first stage. From there, the player is introduced to enemies that need to be attacked while crouching. But the player first sees the new enemy while standing way up high on a ledge, where they can safely learn about the new enemy just by looking down and just watching them. Oh my god, it's so good. There's this section that teaches the player how to climb up onto ledges. And at the end, the player is introduced to two enemy types at once, forcing the player to not only crouch under the rockets, but to also time it so they can safely take out the enemies on the ground, using stacked mechanics to introduce new challenges to the player. The stage ends with a boss fight. It's actually a little simple compared to the rest of the stage, since it only requires running and attacking, but it doesn't introduce anything new that the player hasn't learned yet. And that is the beauty of Stage 1. Okay, so I mentioned at the beginning that I wanted to show you something that blew my mind. So check this out. Look at this scene and tell me what you see. I see a ninja standing on the docks at a pier. There's a shimmering body of water behind him, and the busy city skyline off in the distance. Now here's my question. Does this scene take place during the day or the night? Obviously, it's nighttime. But here's the thing. Take a good look at the graphics. Most of the screen, especially the lower half, is made up of white pixels. The graphic design of this game is so good that the artist was able to make a scene taking place at night using mostly light-colored pixels, which is needed to allow the player to easily see what's happening on the original small, blurry Game Boy screen. So not only is Stage 1 a masterclass of level design, but of graphic design as well. Oh, seriously, this is one of the best games for the Game Boy. The music is outstanding. It's actually in my list of best soundtracks for the Game Boy. The difficulty level is perfect. It's quite challenging, but not nearly as hard as the NES games. If you like old school action side-scrollers, I can't recommend it enough.